Ya estamos casi todas y todos. Un momento más, compañeros, y ya comenzamos. Listo. Bueno, quiero darles las gracias a todas y todos por estar el día de hoy en esta conferencia. Estamos muy emocionados porque en verdad que este proyecto eh, nos hace muy felices y nos emociona mucho a todos aquí en OCESA. Entonces, es un honor tener conmigo y les voy a, discúlpenme si lo leo, pero tenemos a Cheryl Waters. Ella es Creative Director, Live Performance and Midday Host at KEXP y a Albina Cabrera, perdóname Albina, ella habla de español y ella es Latin Partnerships Editorial Manager and Host of El Sonido en KEXP. Entonces, estamos contentos de tenerlas hoy con nosotros porque vamos a tener un evento en conjunto que se llama El Sonido Live en México y esto será el 19 de octubre en el foro Indie Rocks y vamos a tener a 4 bandas tocando ese día, Descartes Sacán, Melenas, La Ciencia Simple y Los Cogelones. Entonces, tanto Albina como Cheryl están aquí hoy con nosotros para hablarnos de esto. La conferencia la haremos principalmente en inglés. Ya saben, si alguien necesita ayuda para traducir o prefieren que yo diga su pregunta y tal, solo escríbanme por el chat y yo les ayudo, ¿vale? Entonces, de ahora ya va a ser todo en inglés. Entonces, thank you, Cheryl and Albina, for being here with us today. We are very excited about this upcoming show and about this incredible partnership with you guys and, of course, Vive Latino. So, anything that you would like to say, to all the people gathered here today before we start with the questions?
I will just start by saying thank you so much, Adriana. And we are so honored that you are excited to join us today. Mexico and all the music of the Latin American countries is something that we have been championing at KEXP for 5 decades. And to shine a spotlight on it these past few years and bring this music to our massive audience, which over 50 years has grown in just incredible size. And we have listeners all over the world, and every single day they're excited to discover something new at KEXP. And we've identified Mexico and the surrounding countries as having some of the most exciting music in the world right now. Albina is bringing new music to us every single day. She's been such an incredible addition to the staff and the programming team at KEXP. And to be returning to Mexico for our 3rd year is such an honor. And we still feel like we have barely scratched the surface of the music community there. And we feel so special to have embraced so warmly by the community there. And I'm just really excited to come back for our 3rd year. And we have 12 incredible bands that we're going to be capturing live video content. Albina and I are going to be talking with all of those bands and learning more about how they make their music, what's important to them, and sharing that music with our audience. And then for the first time, and Albina will of course talk more about this because she's put this incredible showcase together at El Foro Indie Rocks, where we will be for the first time having a live concert in Mexico where our fans down there and some people we think will travel there to join us. So it's just one level of excitement on top of another level of excitement. I feel like my head is going to explode with everything that we're going to be doing down there. And again, we're just so honored that you are excited about what we're doing and that you want to learn more.
It's incredible to be there with Cheryl. This is the 3rd time of KEXP doing live on KEXP from Mexico City. The first time I was a volunteer for KEXP in 2019, and it's incredible that in this 3rd edition we're recording sessions, but we're also doing this live, this in-person event for the first time. So thank you so much, Vive Latino, and congrats for the 25th anniversary, because I know that all of you are starting this big celebration, and I know that means a lot for Mexico, Latinoamérica and Iberoamérica, this big festival, to have like huge stages with artists from our regions. So it's such an incredible thing to celebrate with KEXP, with Vive Latino, and with Indie Rocks magazine that we've been working and doing different type of things for the last, I don't know, 3, 4 years with Indie Rocks and with Vive Latino. So it's gonna be the opportunity to be together, to be in community. Saturday, October 19th at El Foro Indie Rocks with events that we love. We were talking with Cheryl Waters about melenas for a very long time. We love melenas from Pamplona, España. We also have some shoegaze from Patagonia with La Ciencia Simple from Chile. Also some guests from the 2023 edition, Los Cogelones, que fue como una gema para nosotros encontrar esa banda realmente de nuestras preferidas. And Descartes a Kant, por supuesto, representando el rock mexicano. So, really excited and sí, muy emocionada de estar en México de nuevo.
Gracias. Thank you to both. Now, so if you guys are ready, I'm going to start with the questions. First, this one is from Eduardo Lopez from Mr. Indie. So I'm going to read it for him. He says, how has the evolution of Mexican and Latin American music been for KEXP, and what are your expectations for this new edition of El Sonido Live?
Okay. Do you want to start, Cheryl? Or I can start. Whatever you want.
I'll start, and I think you'll also be able to add an interesting perspective. KEXP's mission is to enrich our listeners' and viewers' lives by championing music and discovery. And our vision is to connect a compassionate world by embracing curiosity and a shared love for music. And we started many years ago going out to find that music wherever it is to be found. And we're an international community of music lovers and music makers. We're a nonprofit organization, and we want to foster relationships and build community through our broadcast features and online and through in-person music experiences like this. And the reason that we started traveling to countries like Mexico is because we started to, in our deep research, because we have such wonderful programmers at KEXP who are constantly looking for the best music wherever it can be found. And we started recognizing the richness of the music in Mexico. Of course, we were familiar with Mexican music for decades. We've been playing artists for decades for Mexico, but we just started to notice more and more and more great bands. I have to give credit for the internet, of course, for making it a little bit easier for us to discover that. But many of the bands can't travel, outside of Mexico, and to the US, I'm so sad to say, makes it very prohibitive and expensive for bands to come and tour in the US. And we feel like it's our responsibility and our mission to bring that great music to our listeners. Hopefully, that gives the band a platform to build an audience with our millions and millions of listeners and over 1 billion views on our YouTube channel. And, if they have desires to tour outside of Mexico, hopefully that can give them a little jump start to building that audience and making that move. And we recognize the richness of the music there, and we want to share that with our audience. And we're so fortunate to have over the many decades built this incredible resource that people have responded to, and we feel like it's our responsibility and our mission to use what we have to elevate the voice and get this music out to as many people as we can.
Mm-hmm. I joined KXP 4 years ago as a full-time employee, and we can confirm in 2024 that Mexico right now represents our second largest market on YouTube and also social media. We know about México being como la capital del consumo musical más grande por streaming del mundo, and that is a fact. Mexico loves listening to music, and that is incredible. Y according to our audience report, México es la primera ciudad en el breakdown de ciudades y el segundo en países. So, of course, that not only represent a big part of our audience, also represent a capital city for Latin American music. And back to this question, is the evolution. We can see that evolution around the world. We can see that right now, like music in Espanol, it's not something new. It's not a trend. It's something that is just happening. And that impacted a lot in several music movements. And I think that we are living in an era where Latin music, Ibero-American music, it's super rich. The scenes are huge, and we're just very happy to share that with all our community.
Thank you. And it's actually like, a bridge between our two countries, or, the US and Latin America. And I think nowadays all be, building bridges, to get and connect the people and cultures. So, I will always appreciate and value that work that you guys do for that. Thank you so much. Now I have another question, and this is from David from Lúdica, Guadalajara, and he will say it. David, are you listening to me? David, ¿estás por ahí?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Go ahead.
And yeah, I just have a couple of questions. First of all, I'd like to know that I'm a very big fan of your work, Cheryl and Albina as well. And my question is, what is the criteria? What are the requirements in order to choose the bands who will play in their sessions, for example? And yeah, the next question is, what's coming next? What's coming after the marketing in Latin America? What's coming after this? After you already realize that there's a great opportunity, for example, for Latin American bands, what's coming next? Are you planning to go to a different continent? I don't know. What are your plans for the future?
Nice.
Thank you, David. Let me answer that first part, and I would love it if you could take the question about what is the future, because you are constantly thinking about where we are going and all the exciting things that we're doing into the future. I've been at KEXP for over 30 years. We started doing video and capturing the content of the bands about 20 years, and it's been really exciting to watch that grow. We since our founding at the University of Washington in 1972, we've remained focused on championing music from around the globe, and we span eras and styles and traditions. And KEXP operates one of the most influential listener-supported music radio stations in the world, and we broadcast on the dial in Seattle. In March, we started broadcasting on the radio dial in San Francisco, which was very hungry for music like this. And of course, we broadcast to listeners all over the world at kexp.org and on our KEXP mobile apps. And it's important for us to play music on the air that people are familiar with, but our mission is to help you discover new music that you love. And our main criteria is that the music is good. And I know that sounds so simple, but we don't care if an artist is on a record label or how many records that they have sold or where they're traveling or getting, concerts. We listen to the music, and everything we listen to with fresh ears, and an open mind and an open ears, and we want to cover a range of styles. You'll see in the lineup that we have of the artists 12 bands that we're going to be featuring at El Desierto, where we're going to capture live content of all 12 bands. Also, as I said, talk with the bands. We love to hear the stories of the bands and what their inspirations are and what they're trying to do with their music. And I think it's fair to say that we don't play everything on KEXP. If you're a regular listener, you know we have sort of a style, but it is very, very broad, and there's room for so much music and absolutely different styles of music. So we take everything on its own merits and listen to it and decide whether we think it's something that we want to share with our listeners. And every time we travel to do a broadcast in another city or another country, we have spent months and months preparing for that and listening to, I think it's fair to say, hundreds and hundreds of bands. And I mean, that's really our biggest problem. It's too much music, too many great bands. I mean, we have to make hard decisions there, but obviously then you can see we know that we have 12 fantastic bands to share with our listeners. Yesterday, we made the announcement live on the air during my show. Albina joined me on the midday show, and we played a number of bands, just a sampling that we'll be featuring. And we talked about what we were doing, and we got so many emails. People were going bonkers over Malena's. We only played 3 or 4 of the 12 bands, but we got a listener email that came in who says, thank you for the familiar favorites like the Jurassic 5 that you just played, but I really appreciate these new to me songs from Mexico. Keep on broadening our minds and pleasing our ears, KEXP. That's it right there. That's the heart. We look for music that will broaden our listeners' minds and please their ears.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful. I think that if I can speak about the future, I think that we are building the future right now after finding out about this information about our audience and after, well, in my case, I've been working in alternative Latin music desde siempre, creo yo. And I think that we're literally living something very special. In KEXP, we are, yes, doing this remote broadcast from different cities around the globe. I'm more in charge of Latin America and Spain, but we also do content in Espanol as well. We started creating a series of podcasts. The first season was El Cancionero de Court and was the main reason why we have El Sonido Live right now. El Sonido Live, the first edition of this festival, was a celebration of the season 1 of Cancioneros, the podcast. And it's the first time that El Sonido Live is happening in Ciudad de México. Naturalmente tenía que ser en el marco de este partnership with Vive Latino, naturalmente celebrando el 25 aniversario. So I think that we are just dejándonos ir con la música, donde nos lleve la música, contenido bilingüe. You can find that en tu plataforma preferida de podcast, Cancioneros the season 1 and El Cancionero the Court, which is the series that we are doing during 2024. Y también muchísima cobertura de música latinoamericana en toda la estación de KEXP. Así que hay mucho. Y yo creo, I think that in a couple of months we're going to announce the next remote broadcast, si todo va bien. Pero ahora, México.
Okay, sounds very nice. I have a band as well that only spaces if you want to listen to it from Mexico as well. But thank you very much for this, like the whole space that you bring to the people, to show the music. I think is very, very grateful. more in this time, that we don't have maybe a lot of focus on alternative music mostly, But I think it's very important your labor at this point.
It's really important for us. I mean, I think that the algoritmo tiene muchísimos lugares en the mainstream media, o sea, los artistas masivos tienen sus lugares, but I think that if we can cultivate like spaces for para descubrir música, para estar abiertos a otras sonoridades, creo que es muy importante. And I think that is what I love the most about KEXP, being able to, I don't know, play La Ciencia Simple, shoegaze from Valdivia, Chile, but at the same time, we can play Juana Molina, que es una leyenda en la música latinoamericana. I think that is a great balance that KXP has. Y bueno, yo he aprendido mucho de Cheryl, que está aquí y que hace décadas that she is in KXP.
Gracias. Sorry, go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
No, that was it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now I move on with Arnulfo from Síntesis Hidalgo. Arnulfo, ¿me escuchas?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So, hi, Albina. Hi, Cheryl. Good to see you for this instrument. But I have a good questions. I think so. Good questions. So, the first of all, what is the objective of thinking about the project for Mexico? Will be there a follow-up?
This is the third edition that we're doing in Mexico. So, creo que me preguntaste si va a haber una continuidad, ¿no?
Right.
Sí, claro. So, in 2019, it was our first edition. That was a partnership with Normal Festival. That was our first time in Ciudad de Mexico. Then we did our first partnership with Vive Latino last year, and we recorded 9 bands at El Desierto Casa Estudio. This is going to be our third edition with this new element, El Sonido Live, Saturday, October 19th at Foro Indie Rocks. And yes, of course, I think that we are going to be back in Mexico soon. I don't know exactly when, pero that is something that Cheryl already mentioned at the beginning of this press conference, the commitment of KEXP with Mexico, with this community, que es la casa de miles y miles de oyentes para KEXP. Así que sesiones o festivales o cualquiera sea el formato de esta alianza, KEXP va a regresar a México, of course.
Okay, my second question. Do you consider that Latin American groups are in the same professional connection like OAS? The angle is in. What do you think about it?
I think that changed a lot. I think that if we can compare the Latin American music scene in the 90s, when, for example, bands used to think that they must sing in English, let's say, because it was the only way for them, to have an international career in different continents, not only if we think about the US as a country. But I think that now is different. The artists, they don't have that barrier. I think that the bookers and the people who are in charge of festivals in the US, they are more open to mix lineups, to have different talents from all over Latin America and, again, other continents. I think that if we think about, I don't know, alternative music, if we think about rock, now we have like rock in so many different languages. We are big fans of psych rock from Brazil with Cheryl, for example. And, like the language is the music, and I know that maybe sounds super romantic. I know, it's como este lenguaje universal, but it's true. And I think that back to your question about the professional tools that maybe the bands has right now. Yes, of course, we have a lot of work to do still, but I think that you can build, and the scenes are not built just by musicians, are, journalists, bookers, distintos profesionales, fotógrafos, and I think that we are all working together to bring a more a scene more igualitaria, más abierta y con más oportunidades para los artistas latinoamericanos. Cheryl was mentioning how difficult it's for artists to just to have visas, to have their tours in the US. Yes, that is a big problem. And I think that part of this, the remote broadcast that we do, is also to try to break those borders, and try to, yes, to build bridges entre nuestros países. No sé si contesté tu pregunta, Arnulfo, espero que sí.
Right. My last question is,
Sí.
in fact, straight ahead, how is important is in the lasting community for the station in this case?
¿Cómo es? Perdón, te pregunto de nuevo. Could you repeat that again?
How important is the Latin community for the station?
I think that is very important. When we were mentioning the different stats that we found in our audience report, I think that we have different elements here. Yes, we have a huge audience that is part of the Latin American community, but I think that also across Latin America, we grew up with this like kind of crisis around media, around radio. It was very hard for us to find radio stations with alternative Latin music. It was very hard for us to have like escenas alternativas fuertes. And I think that we found through KXP YouTube channel y luego a través de KXP como un lugar para encontrar música nueva. And I think that we have many of us, we are a lot of us around the world who are music lovers, who love discovering new music. Y back to your question, sorry, no me quiero ir por las ramas, pero representa mucho. En nuestro canal de YouTube y en nuestras redes sociales es el segundo mercado, tan solo desde la data. If we think about US Latin in terms of audience, just El Sonido, the show that I host, went from 3.2% to 15.7% in just 3 years, just en audiencia hispanohablante en Seattle area. Entonces, eso dice, not only, this is not only something that is happening in around KXP, something that is happening in the US and something that is happening around the world with our culture specifically y con el idioma español, me parece.
I wanted to add to that also that we have had a commitment to Latin music for a very long time. As I mentioned, we've been around for 50 years, and from the beginning, our DJs can play whatever they want. We have almost 50 different DJs, all with different tastes and styles and experience and history. I have long played in my 30 years Latin music because I grew up in Miami. My parents live in Mexico. I have a personal love for it. Other DJs do as well. Some DJs have experience or a love of another, but we have a variety of specialty shows on KEXP, and they're limited because there's only 7 days in a week, so we can't showcase every style of music. But over 10 years ago, we identified a place on our dial for El Sonido where we specialize in Latin music, and we do have a soft spot for indie music, but we play traditional music. You'll find a great mix there. So we've had a long commitment to Latin music, and now that we're on the internet and we're able to get statistics on our listening audience, it's very significant to us to see how many people in Spanish-speaking countries are utilizing our streaming and watching our videos, and we pay close attention to that.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, ladies. See you soon. Cheers. Our acting is for. Thank you so much. Thank you, Adriana. Good evening. Bye-bye.
Gracias,
Gracias,
Arnulfo.
Arnulfo.
We can't wait to see you.
Thank you. Now I have another question from Antonio from El Parlante. Antonio?
Amigos, perdón, paréntesis, I hope to see you all there Saturday, October 19th. And just saying, I want to see how many are we? Oh, bueno, these 62 amigos y amigas, I want to see you there.
Sí, me too. Vamos, amigos. Perdón.
Sí.
Antonio, del Parlante. Antonio, can you hear me?
Yes, Adri. Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Albina. First,
Hola.
say the question in Spanish for the journalist, and then in English for you, okay? First of all, Cheryl, en verdad es un privilegio platicar contigo. He visto gran parte de tus videos con Mac DiMarco, con Parcels, con Jungle, con King Gizzard, entre otros artistas que me encantan. Este proyecto sin duda es uno de los más importantes a nivel mundial, y que estén de regreso en México, pues es algo que nos enorgullece. ¿Qué tan importante es globalizar a KEXP en las diferentes plataformas? Cheryl, it's awesome to talk with you. I watched a bunch of your videos with Mac DiMarco, Parcels, Jungle, King Gizzard, and other artists I love. This project is huge worldwide, and we're stuck. You're back in Mexico. How important do you think it is to take KEXP global on different platforms?
It's incredibly important. We started out as a radio station, but we've gone way beyond that now. We want to provide content however people want to consume it. And, we are online, we're on the radio dial. As we mentioned, we just are so proud to have started broadcasting in the Bay Area, where we're not looking to start radio stations everywhere in the world, but we recognize a real hole there where they were not having a great radio station there. And we had the rare opportunity to get a signal there. And we created a local music show that just started on Saturday night, because we know that there is such a vibrant Latin music scene there. So we are expanding in ways like that, but creating the podcast, Albina and her team have worked so hard this past year on the Cobain 50 podcast, providing a Spanish version of that, so that people that like podcasts, people that listen online, people that are streaming KEXP live, people that watch the videos, it may not surprise you to hear that with millions of subscribers to our YouTube channels and over 1 billion individual views, there are many people that love those videos and live and die and breathe by them, that actually don't even know that we're a radio station. They just think of us as a resource to see their favorite bands do a live sessions. And we feel so honored to have created something so special. We did it from a very grassroots beginning with volunteer videographers who taught themselves how to do video, and we created our own visual identity with those, and we stayed true to our hearts. We don't have to answer to anybody else at KEXP because we're supported by music lovers. We get financial contributions from our listeners and from businesses in the community that have the same values and mission that we do. And it's important for us to try to get KEXP and our content out on as many platforms as we can, so that it's available to people however they want to consume that content.
And I'm so proud to say that I am one of your subscribers in YouTube.
Yay! I want to add with what Cheryl is saying, that many many people around the world globe think that KXP is just a YouTube channel, and that is also an opportunity to me to say that we have a very special on-air programming. What we are doing with El Sonido, that maybe the people who are here, we are more familiar with El Sonido, Latin music, but you have the continent, which is like music from Africa and all the African diaspora, Eastern echoes with music from Asia and the Asian diaspora. You have like sounds of survivance with all the modern music from indigenous artists. And that is like an on-air programming, I don't know, no porque trabaje en KXP, que realmente me inspira, ¿no? Porque es como un descubrimiento musical, como un ejercicio constante de descubrir nueva música. Y eso globaliza, o sea, te conecta indefectiblemente with different cultures, sí.
Albina, well, first of all, I hope Adri don't bother for the question in Spanish because I'm gonna say it in Spanish. Albina, pues también un gran fan tuyo, también he visto todas tus sesiones con Siloana, con usted Señálemelo, con Rubio, con Ana. Saqué mi fan periodístico, pero es un orgullo tenerlas aquí enfrente y poder platicar con ustedes. A mí me gustaría platicar un poquito, hacerte esta pregunta. Ya lo habías platicado con mi compañero anterior. Tú como latina en Estados Unidos, ¿cómo visualizas el poder de esta música en este país? ¿Y qué es lo que podemos mejorar nosotros como medios de comunicación para seguir exponiendo a nuestros artistas emergentes, así como KEXP lo hace?
Yo creo que no hay que mejorar, sino que hay que continuar haciéndolo sin parar, que es enamorarte de tu escena, apoyar a tu escena. No hay ninguna magia más allá de que EXP que apoyar y creer que las escenas locales pueden triunfar y pueden viajar en el mundo. Como lo hizo Nirvana en los 90 o todo el grunge royalty del noroeste del Pacífico, lo hizo creyendo en un sonido propio y en una escena propia. So I think that if we are como music journalists, difusores, personas que queremos reescribir la historia de nuestras músicas, creo que tenemos que, sin parar, seguir apoyando a nuestros artistas. Los artistas que hoy están tocando en ese venue de 50 personas al lado de tu casa, en algún día pueden estar en grandes escenarios. Y eso no tiene que cambiar, tiene que ser lo mismo para ti, ¿entendés? Tenés que apoyarlos con el mismo amor. Yo creo eso para tu última parte de la pregunta respecto a qué se puede hacer mejor. Yo creo que siempre estar abiertos a escuchar más música y seguir apoyando. No hay que creer que hay que copiar un modelo de Estados Unidos o hay que copiar un modelo europeo. No, cada uno tiene su propia identidad y si uno se mantiene fiel a eso, siempre hay buenos resultados. Eh, y como latina en Estados Unidos, obviamente está un proceso personal que es de cada uno de nosotros, que tiene que ver con migrar, con convertirte en inmigrante. Cada uno tiene una vivencia distinta, pero yo le veo mucho futuro. Yo estoy muy emocionada de poder tener, I don't know, por ejemplo, festivales en Seattle como Freak Out Festival, y ahora tenemos como un line-up con 15 bandas de América Latina, o no sé, en San Francisco, el Psych Rock Fest, con 13 bandas de América Latina girando, como que empiece a ser natural escuchar estas músicas, me parece como fundamental, y sigue sucediendo un montón de cosas, por supuesto, que hay que mejorar, ¿no? Que las oportunidades sean iguales para todos, etcétera. Pero si tengo que comparar, yo veo un futuro muy prometedor, y un futuro que se puede hacer a la alternativa de la industria musical, ¿no? A la alternativa de la industria musical con base en Miami, que está todo bien y que hay premios y hay alfombras rojas y está todo bien. Hay gente para todo y hay gente que le gusta escuchar crowd rock ecuatoriano y está todo bien. Sí, eso es lo que puedo decir de Parlante Music, que muchas gracias siempre por el apoyo, el Parlante.
Gracias. This is a question for Albina and for Cheryl. What is your favorite artist to interview in KEXP?
I can't answer that question. I've interviewed literally thousands of artists. I will admit that is the most asked question that I get. But for over 20 years of capturing video of artists, I was the person selecting all of the artists and booking them. So of course I love them. And we have to make hard decisions because when we're in Seattle, there are way more artists coming through town in a week than we have the ability to have visit to the station. We only have so many resources and so many days a week, and we have to make hard decisions. So I love all the bands that come in. I could never pick one, but you mentioned some of your favorite bands at the beginning of your questions, and I can tell that we have very similar taste in music. I would be here for 5 hours if I started listing them, but obviously I'm sure you know from watching the videos, Jungle is one of my favorite bands. And I mentioned them only because they and other bands like M83 and the list can go on, Fleet Foxes, they're a really good example of bands who we discovered early, maybe even before the first album was released. And we invited them to come in studio because we were at the cutting edge of discovery, and we discovered them before anybody really knew who they were. And we invited them in, and then when their next album came out and they maybe got a little bit more attention, we invited them back again and again. And now these artists are massive, and they play, well, King Gizzard is a perfect example. They can sell out massive stadiums 3 nights in a row. And so when they come to town, they're usually playing a venue that requires them to come really early because their setup is really massive, and they don't really have a lot of time to stop by the station because of how large they've grown. And they love KEXP, and they're so appreciative of the role that we've played in their trajectory, and they're very devoted to us that they will often schedule in an extra day in their tour schedule just to make time to come to KEXP, which is a big deal because, a band, especially a band like King Gizzard, they're traveling away from their families. Now they were babies when we started playing them. Now they all have children and families. And so when they travel from Australia and travel around the world, they're away from their families for a long time. That's how they make their money. That's how they support themselves. So for them to build an extra day into a tour just for KEXP, because they recognize what we've done, and Jungle's a band like that as well now too. They don't have to come to KEXP anymore. They do not need the promotion, but they love KEXP, and we built that kind of relationship with those bands, and we're doing that every single day. Yesterday, I had the Harlem Gospel Travelers in. They're a tiny little band that is now, opening for huge artists, and they had their first KEXP radio experience yesterday, and they were beside themselves. And it's really lovely to see how much it means to people to come into KEXP and for us to travel to Mexico. All 12 of these bands know that we have made a big effort and a great expenditure to come. We're a nonprofit radio station. We have a limited budget, and we have chosen to come to Mexico, of all places. We have chosen these 12 bands, and our team, who is a team of incredibly talented professionals, are going to do the best we can to showcase these bands in the best possible light and make them sound wonderful and share that with an audience. That's a lot of love from the bands and they're going to come and they're going to give their love and their talents with us. And in return, we're going to give love back to them and share that with our audience. And I always say I really love what KEXP is doing, because we travel somewhere and we're saying thank you so much to the band and to El Desierto and Aforo Rocks and El Vive Latino. We're like, thank you, thank you. And they're saying to KEXP, thank you, thank you. Like, everybody feels like they are getting something out of it. Everybody feels like they are the one who is winning here. I mean, what a wonderful world to live in.
Estás en mute. You're on mute.
Gracias, Adri. Thank you very much again for your questions. And I always say thank you for this. I'm nervous. See you soon. Gracias, Adri. Gracias, Albina. Thank you, Cheryl. Saludos a todos.
Hasta
Gracias,
pronto.
parlante.
Gracias, Antonio. Muchas gracias. Bueno, ahora, now we move on with Ángel from Fusión MX. I'm going to say his question. And he says, what is the vision of KEXP about the use of new technologies to create music?
Are we talking about artificial intelligence?
I think so, Ángel. Es acerca de la inteligencia artificial.
Yeah.
Yes, about.
Yes.
Yes.
As KEXP, we don't have like a formal statement about that. We just believe in humans creating music. You know, we're always saying that we have humans in the booth playing songs and building memories. And I think that we believe in that power. I'm not familiar with that. I know that many artists, some of the artists are agree about that, about experimenting with that. Some artists are completely against. I think that is going to be a big discussion that is beyond us, the people who are here in this room. I believe in new tools and technology for make lives better. But I truly believe that the art is something that human creates and is how we connect with each others. And it's I believe that KEXP really thinks and really believe in the power of someone playing a song, you know, and I don't know, that is the world that I want to live in. But I will let Cheryl also share. I don't know if you have any thoughts, Cheryl.
I would just say, no sé. I don't even think about artificial intelligence. It's not something we're investing resources or too much thought in. I would echo what Albina just said, and also just expand on something she said, to say we have live DJs every single moment you're listening to KEXP. We broadcast 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. We have over 45 people on the air with decades, maybe over hundreds of years of combined experience and knowledge and of music. And I assume you know, but maybe you do not know how rare that is in the radio world. Much radio now, even some of our fellow travelers who try to do what KEXP does, they're automated, a lot of radio. Most radio, the program director or the music director is selecting all of the music, and the people on the air are just playing from playlists. They are not selecting that music themselves. And we give the responsibility over to our DJs to craft the best possible programming that we can. We hire the most experienced and a wide range of talent on the air. We put a lot of what we care about into human programming. It's at the core of what we do, and it's something that we believe in. And we believe that music has the power to transform lives and connect people across all boundaries. And we believe in humans curating that experience.
Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks, Albina. Thanks, Adri.
Thank
Gracias,
you.
Ángel. Thank you. Now I move on with Chema from Rock Activist. Chema, ¿me escuchas?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
Hello.
go ahead.
Hello, Cheryl. It's an honor. Albina, nice to see you once again.
¿Qué
I
tal?
want to ask you something very important. What about the other countries in the Americas? Are you going to partner with other festivals around the continent? And what other bands would you like to bring for the next edition of this huge event between KXP and Viva Latino?
Nice. Okay, the lineup for this remote broadcast, this live on KXP sessions, no son sesiones transmitidas, sino grabadas, son lineups with Ibero-American bands. So last year you saw like bands such as Sanger Papers, but at the same time Los Mirlos from Perú y Las Áñez de Colombia. Y la Santa Cecilia y Mabe Frati de Guatemala. Para esta oportunidad, el lineup que tenemos cuenta con artistas, sorry, for this, I switched into español y me olvidé por
Don't
completo.
worry, no, don't worry, it's okay.
For this year, we have the lineup is, we have artists from Mexico, from Peru, from Spain and from Chile. Tenemos Mon Laferte a la ciencia simple from Chile, Melenas from España, La Zorra Zapata from Perú y bueno, La Bruja de Texcoco, Enjambre, Bruces, Son Rompepera, Descartes Sacant, Luis Almaguer, Lorel Mitz de Obsolete y La Elis Paprika de México. And we've been doing this in different cities. This is our third time in Mexico. We also went to Argentina in 2022. We are already planning what is going to be the 2025 edition. No puedo decir todavía dónde, pero ya lo estamos planificando. Y being honest, we got several invitations from different countries such as Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Perú también. And also KXP travel around the globe and also partnered with several music festivals y organizaciones para hacer posible este tipo de formato también. No sé si quieres saber algo más, Rock Activist. Chema.
Yeah, sorry. About the about the selection of the bands. Here we are fans of the Scots of Kant and Sayer Papers, but how do you get to this? How do you get to select the talents around the editions of these events?
Mm-hmm. Bueno, we played these bands all the time at KXP, not only on El Sonido, but we also we play Son Rompepera, we play Enjambre, we play, bueno, the new album of Luis Almaguer is on rotation for KXP. Melena's latest album was also on heavy rotation. La Zorra Zapata, her latest two singles are also in rotación para KXP. She's about to release a new album. So these are bands who are part of the KXP world and are also bands that I play on my show almost every week. And I know that Cheryl Waters also played this artist. And the selection, bueno, I think that Cheryl mentioned a little bit, we prepare like a big list with a bunch of basically de bandas y empezamos a escuchar. I don't know, each of us tenemos nuestros géneros preferidos, qué sé yo, pero I have to listen to all the music, of course. Pero para mí el sonido y la música que comparto ahí es como mi faro. Pero I also like throughout the years, I've been learning the KXP sound, y qué sé yo ya lo siento como propio. Entonces, a la hora de seleccionar bandas, pero we share with Cheryl, with Jim Beckman, as well. The three of us, we are just listening music y decidiendo nuestros favoritos. I don't know, or Sherry, if you want to share something about the selection process.
It's not, it's not an AI generated process. Undoubtedly, we are missing something wonderful. And if you know of a great band, we always want to hear about it. Like I said, there are no ways you have to go through a process. If you know of a great band, send it to us. We are always hungry for great new music, and it's a human process. We make a list of literally hundreds of bands, and Albina, our video and live performances manager, Jim Beckman, who was there at the very start of our video program 20 years ago, the three of us and our chief content officer, Chris Kellogg, we all listen to the bands. We all talk about them. We have little rankings and make little notes on a spreadsheet. It's a very engaged process. It's fun. It's a lot of discussion about what we think, and we want to make sure that we are not having all bands that sound the same. We want to turn people on to all different styles of music and all kinds of representation. We're very proud to represent LGBTQ artists. We want to make sure there's female representation because there's great music to be found from so many different people. We can't get everything in on this trip, but we're very proud of the 12 bands that we've chosen. And we can also continue to play all the other bands that we listen to that we weren't able to fit in the lineup this year. They can still get airplay on KEXP. So we're always looking to champion great music wherever we find it. And we have deep principles of inclusivity, diversity, and equity, and we hold those very tight and put them into action through our mission. And we think we can help create a world that we all want to live in, and we do that through sharing music from a lot of different people.
Okay, thank you so much, Cheryl. Albina, muchas gracias. Hope to see you back in Mexico, and thank you for the lineup. It's incredibly amazing. Thank you.
Yay! I love you like
Thank
it.
you.
I was about to ask that. What do you think about the lineup?
For me, it looks great. I'm a fan of the Scots Second, Los Cogelones. I have the chance to see them alive just for once, almost working with them once, but didn't work. And the rest of the bands seem incredibly great. It's such a great, scrap what you made from these talents of the continent and outside the continent.
I want to thank you so much, Chema. I want to make sure that you are all here. Like, of course, we're having a great conversation, and you are all here, like, working. Just to clarify, the El Sonido Live is going to be the tickets go on sale in one day, tomorrow.
Sí, 22 de agosto.
22 de agosto, 11 a.m. Pacific. Yes, 11 a.m. Pacific. So the ticket go on sale on Ticketmaster for El Sonido Live, which is, again, October 19th. Y con estas 4 bandas, Los Cogelones, La Ciencia Simple, Melenas y Descartes Sacant. And we're going to be recording, like taping the Live on KEXP sessions with 12 artists throughout that week. The sessions will be available on our YouTube channel, empezando en noviembre de este año.
Okay,
celebrando.
Well, thank you.
Sí.
And all of us will be there on Saturday, October 19th at Foro Indie Rock. So we want to see all of you there.
Yes, we want.
Yeah, for sure. We will be there for sure. Thank you.
Yay.
Can't wait to meet you in person.
Me too.
Thank you so much, guys. Albina, Cheryl, do you give us a few extra minutes just for one last question before we wrap up this conference?
Sure.
Thank you. So the last question will be from Luis from Miskit Radio. Luis, ¿me escuchas?
Sí, Adri, te escucho.
Adelante, go ahead, Luis.
Claro que sí. Hi, nice to meet you. Albina, para ti, te voy a preguntar en específico. Sé de la importancia que tienes tú en la música allá en Estados Unidos y sobre todo porque has participado en los Latin Music Alternative. Es parte fundamental de un latino que esté en Estados Unidos y sobre todo que proyecte el rock latino. Para ti y sobre todo en específico, preguntarte si el rock latinoamericano o el rock hispanoparlante o hispanohablante puede ser esa respuesta que necesita el mundo actual hacia descubrir nuevos talentos en el mundo y proyectarlos precisamente. Y bueno, en general, también preguntar para Sherlyn, what have they found in the Latin rock which has become relevant for KXP?
Nice. Okay. I will start with the first part and I will let Cheryl to share her favorites. Bueno, first of all, thank you so much for asking that question, Luis. De verdad means a lot. To me, it's the Latin American rock and roll. It was the scenes that I grew up. En el sonido del indie rock de early 2000s fue para mí el sonido de mi generación. Desde el matón policía motorizado en Argentina hasta Little Jesus en México, o Los Puncetes en España, o Diamante Eléctrico en Colombia. Digo, todas esas bandas para mí son mi soundtrack, ¿no? Como mi songbook. Y que mencionaba sobre la Latin Alternative Music Conference. Yo creo que es muy importante que ese sonido latinoamericano comience a ser parte del sonido musical en vivo estadounidense. Y creo que lo está logrando en festivales, creo que lo está logrando en medios, creo que lo está logrando en escuchas. Y creo que lo podemos ver en ejemplos, en tours, por ejemplo, I don't know. Tours que hacen, pensemos en bandas de rock mexicanas, por ejemplo, los tours estadounidenses que hace Shirota, o Margaritas Podridas, o Ahora Muérete Tú, que va a hacer su primer tour por la West Coast. Digo, vemos que son artistas que funcionan. At the same time, por supuesto que funcionan artistas como Silvana Estrada, pero o pop más latinoamericano, Banda Los Chinos, El Mató a un Policía Motorizado. Creo que hay una mejor escena para ellos ahora en Estados Unidos, y absolutamente creo que la forma de respuesta al mundo lo tiene el sonido rockero del continente. Lo vemos en cómo están respondiendo países que acaban de tener sus elecciones presidenciales y que tienen líderes de ultraderecha, que están cultivando escenas rockeras nuevas, interesantísimas. Y tengo que decir ahí de Argentina, porque nosotros tenemos, bueno, ya sabemos a quién de presidente de Argentina en este momento, y tenemos una gran escena post-rock y rockera y shoegaze allí. So I really think that the sound. I did an interview with Jack Endino a couple of months ago. He was telling me the story that he found through Titas in Brazil and through several artists in Chile, that they were telling them that for that generation, the generation who grew up in the 90s, the Seattle sound was the sound of freedom, because our countries, estábamos terminando dictaduras militares, ¿no? Entonces, I think that we did that in the past con el rock latinoamericano, y creo que lo podemos hacer de nuevo. Sí. So that's my
Ok.
answer, Luis Alberto. And I will let Sherry Waters to answer, yes, about, I don't know exactly, how was the question, Luis?
Was it some of my favorite
Yeah.
artists?
What have they found in the Latin rock which become relevant for KXP?
I mean, I'm not sure if you're talking about individual artists, but every day I'm discovering someone, and I love that I can play new artists every day that I discover. And sometimes a listener will write in during my show and make a recommendation, and I will listen to it and I like it and I can put it on right away. But we continue to go back to our old favorites like Cafe Tacuba. I remember when I discovered Mintfield, that was a brand new artist, but I continue to play them, and I love Sonido Gallo Negro and Little Jesus, who Albina mentioned, and Sextores was a band I discovered on our first trip in 2019 that I loved. Elsa y Elmar. We love bands like Mexican Institute of Sound and Nortec Collective that have been around a long time. I discovered a band called Beni Mira through El Chirota, who I discovered in 2019. It's just every day I'm discovering someone new, and it's just exciting to feel like the music is endless. It's just going to keep coming. And one of the great things about KEXP is it's not just a top 40 station where we're playing the single from an album and you're just hearing the same songs over and over. We're playing new music, but we don't forget about the artists that we played before, and we can play all the songs from their albums. So our listeners become familiar with the whole catalog, and we can play something new, and we can play something from 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And one of the things we love to do about KE at KXP is give context, like play a brand new artist and then play something from the past that you can tell was completely an influence on an artist. And it might be another Latin band, or it might be Nirvana. You know, you have a Mexican band that is influenced by Nirvana, and on KXP we can play those next to each other and make that connection for our listeners, and it gets them really excited about those new discoveries.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias, Luis.
Gracias.
Yes, Luis, thank you so much once again, Albina and Cheryl. It has been truly a pleasure for me, and I'm sure for all my journalist colleagues. And I will see you very soon here in Mexico City. And is there anything else that you would like to say to us before we finish the conference?
I just want to say thank you, Adriana, and everyone who took the time to be with us this afternoon. We can't wait to come back to Mexico. As Albina said, this is our third time visiting, which is a big deal. We continue to recognize the rich musical community and resources that you have there, and we're excited to come back again. And I hope to meet so many of you, if not all of you, when we come, and let everyone know about the tickets going on sale tomorrow. We can't wait to meet our listeners in Mexico.
Muchas gracias a todos. Qué honor, y nos vemos pronto, amigos. Muchísimas gracias, Adriana and team.
Gracias a ti, Albina. Thank you, guys, and
Thank you so
have
much.
a good day. We'll see you very soon. Gracias a todos.
See you in October. Chao, amigos.
Thank you. Gracias. Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.
Recording stop.